Hello guys, welcome again to my channel. This time to unbox and review the D-Link DIR 850L, a wireless router AC1200. It's a dual band gigabit router. How you can see, the box is plenty of information. In this side we can see that they have the iOS app and Android app. And let's go to the unboxing. In the bottom we have the serial numbers and other numbers. Let's cut the box. Here is the router and the accessories box, and here is the warranty manuals and the instructions, the access password, the router access password card, the warranty information, instructions, a CD with the software, not needed. Okay, here is the router, and here is the AC adapter. This is the D-Link router. We have here category 5 Ethernet cable, and it's all in the box. Okay, here is the router. We have this instruction sticker. Here we have the one port, the Internet one port. Removing the sticker, we have the 4 gigabit Ethernet ports. Here the power plug and the power button, the WPS button, and the USB 2.0 connection. Here is the other sticker with the passwords information. Let's remove the sticker. Revealing this glossy fingerprint magnet surface. In the front, I confirm that those are not buttons, just indicator lights. In the bottom we have the router information and serial numbers, the reset button, 4 rubber feet, and 2 slots for wall mounting. On the top we have 1, 2, 3, 4 venting holes. And it's all in this little router. Now let's do the connection. In this case, my first connection is the network provider ONT fiber connection, and the last is the Gigabit, the only Gigabit Ethernet port in my provider router. These 3 Ethernet cables are equipments in my home, and the second Ethernet connection that I will maintain it's my IPTV box that still connected on the provider router. To connect the internet, I'm going to use a 6 category Ethernet cable on my last and only Gigabit port, Gigabit Ethernet port, connecting it on the internet port of the D-Link router. Now I connect my 3 home devices cables. I connect my USB hard drive and turn on the router. Okay, the router have the sufficient power to a hard drive. Here is the power light, and here is the power light green because it's successfully connected, and the internet connection light green because it's connected. Now I'm going to set up my router. In this case, I'm going to disconnect the PPPoE connection on my network provider, maintaining my network provider only for telephone and IPTV services. Disconnected the PPPoE connection. We now are going to connect to D-Link router setup page with the D-Link IP address. Here is the setup, the initial setup guide. Here are all the languages available. And here I'm going to put my PPPoE credentials. Next, with the credentials of the PPPoE connections inserted, we can configure, we can set up our SSID Wi-Fi names. In this case, I'm going to set up this name. Okay. I recommend you use a password in the connection, although I'm not inserting here my password so you can see it. Here you can set up a password to access the router, or leave it like it came. And here you choose your local time. And now we wait. The Portuguese traduction is very wrong, but okay, but it's okay. Okay, the router is set up. Now I truly recommend you set up a D-Link account, and you are going to see why. Here are the as the Wi-Fi SSIDs, I'm going to connect to the 5 GHz. And how you can see, this router can provide an wireless N 300 megabits per second. Now I'm going to connect to the 2.0, 2.4 gigahertz, and we have 144 megabits per second. Here is why I'm giving you the advice to create an account, because we have this functionality, this in-cloud or sort of in-cloud functionality that you can access anywhere you are. You have here the network connection, the wireless connection, the wireless password connection. You can enable email notifications, and you have the router status and the devices connected to it. It can be useful. We are going to enter in the router configurations again. Here you have auto wireless config or manual wireless setup. And in manual wireless setup, how you can see, we have here the 2.4 gigahertz band configurations, the channel width, the transmission rate that can range up 300 megabits, but in my Mac only shows 144 megabits. Here I truly recommend you to set up a password. And here we have the 5 GHz band configurations. The maximum speed is 300 megabits. And you have all the bands, all the modes to set up. The channel width too. And here in 2.4 gigahertz band, I'm going to set up a free channel because the Danicati 2.4 gigahertz quartos and the Danicati 2.4 gigahertz wireless access points are going to disappear. We have a range between 6 and 10 channel, and in the middle I'm going to choose 8, channel 8 for sure. Okay, here I set up the channel 8 and we save the settings here. Here is the router status, the PPP-oe connection established, the Wi-Fi information, all the devices connected to LAN. In tools, we have the administration options, the gateway name. I'm going to set up to my preference name. Here we have the time updates and server settings. Here we have the syslog, the system log, the email notification settings, and the system settings, where we can restore, save configuration, clear language pack, all those kinds of stuff. Here we have the firmware that came with 1.05, and here we can see that we have the firmware version 1.10 that we are going to download. I have a network speed around 100 megabits download and 20 megabits upload. And here in the test, we can see that by Wi-Fi and 5 gigabits, we have the approximate connections. Here is the firmware update file, and we are going to upload it. I truly recommend you to do the firmware upload by Ethernet cable, okay? And here, please do not power off the device, or you are going to kill it, or you have to enter in safe mode. How you can see, we have here the firmware version, and it's the latest version. Here is the dynamic DNS config setup, the system check, and the throttles. Here in advanced we have virtual server configurations, port forwarding for applications or games, application rules, KeyOS prioritization service that is very useful and I'm going to set up in the future. Here we have the network filter, the access control, the website filter for allow or deny some websites, the inbound filter, the firewall settings with SPI firewall and anti-proof checking. Here we have the routing setup, when you can route IPs, advanced wireless where we can set up the transmission power, here we have the Wi-Fi protected setup so you can use a pin to connect. The advanced control, where you can set up the Ethernet connection, and the multicast streams that I'm going to be enabled. Here we have the guest zone, so you can set up a guest Wi-Fi, the IPv6 IP version 6 firewall, and the IP version 6 routing. Here we have the D-Link app, and to connect to the HDD connected to the router, if you doesn't set up other users, you have to use the router access user account. And how you can see, we have the drive mounted. Here in the desktop too. You can set up other users to connect to storage devices by adding them here, and here you have the devices connected. Here are the media server settings. If you have a smart TV or media player, you can enable DLNA. If you use iTunes, sure, you want to use iTunes server, and it works. I'm going to test the 5 GHz band on my iPhone 5, and with my 100 megabits download and 20 megabits upload internet on my iPhone, we can obtain a 23 milliseconds ping, around 55 megabits per second download, and 24 megabits upload. Very good for 20 megabits I have. And in the 2.4 gigahertz connection, we are going to test and I have around the same ping, 22 milliseconds, the half download speed, around 35, 36, 37 megabits per second, and the same 22, 23 megabits per second upload. The upload still is the same, but the download is half. Now I'm going to test a copy of a video file. First, in the 2.4 gigahertz connection with a speed contracted of 144 megabits. And here is the file I'm going to copy to a RAID array connected to a PC on my network, and speeding up the process. We have on 2.4 gigahertz 2 minutes and 3 seconds of copy. Now on 5 gigahertz with 300 megabits per second contracted. Speeding up the process again. We have 1 minute and 28 seconds. And now I'm going to test on my Apple Airport Extreme 5 GHz wireless LAN with 450 megabits per second contracted. Now I'm not speeding up the process because how you are going to see, it's not needed. Okay. The speed of my Apple Airport Extreme only N, not AC, only N router is best, around 19 seconds, but the D-Link wins with the coverage. The D-Link can cover my whole house, in the Apple Airport Extreme not. Here is my unboxing and review of the D-Link DIR 850L. I hope you enjoy. If you enjoyed, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe my channel, and I see you on the next one.